Hearthstone Global Games is an epic country versus country tournament where teams of 4 card slingers each clash for national pride.
But in the end, the UK always wins.
Wait, everybody knows it's Germany always wins.
Aren't you Polish?
Is winning all that matters? It's all about fun and getting along with your teammates.
That's easy when their skills are legendary.
Or in this case, you have an ace player who will never let you down.
So we're going to see the same old archetypes then?
No, every team needs to bring all 9 classes.
So we're going to see Hunter?
I wonder.
So let's recap. It's 4 regions, 48 countries, but
only one winner.
Get ready
for the Hearthstone
Global Games.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hearthstone Global Games, week number 7, day number 1. My name is Dan Gaskin, and I've got the Danner to my Dan. It's Falcone. How's it going, brother?
It is going great. I'm happy to be your Danner any day, Dan.
How have you been feeling so far about the Global Games? We're into week number 7 now. We've got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it's starting. Me saying this is starting to sound boring, but we're getting into the really intense part of the competition where Sotul is going to punch me for saying this properly, but every game does count at this stage. We're getting to the point where some teams, if they win, they're very likely to get through to the next round, and if they lose, they're very likely not to get through. So everything to play for now.
Yeah, a lot of worrying games for several teams that worried they might just drop out, won't qualify, and of course they want to get to that phase 2. But let's have a look at the format of the whole Global Games. We're currently in stage 1, 8 groups of 6. Of course, it's a 10-week round robin. All teams competing, all countries competing to try and get to that stage 2. Talk me through that one, Dan.
Well, stage 2, it's going to be 6 groups of 4 teams in a 3-week round robin, much faster than stage 1. And then after that, the top few teams are going to get through to stage 3, where the top 4 teams will be competing at the LAN finals. Very excited for that one.
Competing to be the Global Games champions, and what a title that would be to take home to the rest of the nation with all that pressure on your backs. Let's also have a look at all the group standings and see where we are at the moment then. Group A, so we've got Bulgaria sitting nicely at the top there, but it's not looking fantastic for Switzerland down the bottom.
Yeah, Bulgaria has been just one of the more impressive teams in the competition. Morgalad being a name that we've thrown around on the casting desk a lot as a player that we really believe is one to watch. Sweden versus Indonesia and China versus Switzerland are coming up today, so this is a big group to watch for today.
Definitely. Moving over to Group B then, see where we're going to be standing for that one. United States 4-0. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that pretty much guarantees them into stage 2.
They're through. They just have to play one more game in this group, and it's impossible for 3 other groups to get a score as high as 4. So, yeah, United States looking very strong. Romania, on the other hand, a lot to play.
That's what I was going to say. It still baffles me seeing Romania down there at 0-3. They are very likely to be going out of this group if they cannot secure another victory.
One of the most interesting things to me about this group is that, so first and second place look pretty much secure. Romania and Peru look like they're pretty much 5th and 6th, but UK and Thailand, it looks like they're battling for 3rd place. The top 3 teams in the group are going to get through. UK versus Thailand is today.
Yeah, an absolutely massive game. Group C then, sitting at the top, Argentina 3-1, but on the opposite side of the spectrum, Spain 1-3. Again, I was looking at that Spain roster at the start of the Global Games. I was thinking they were going to be doing big things. Of course, they do still have a chance to get back into the swing of things, but they have to get victory after victory now.
Yeah, Spain have been an odd one, and I'm saying an odd one, although sort of the whole thing that the Global Games is celebrating is that a mix between pro players and streamers and YouTubers. Like, Team Spain know that they're half YouTubers and half pro players, and I know the pro players have been trying to really encourage the YouTubers to play and be more competitive, but obviously haven't been too successful there. Russia, also kind of surprising. They should. I know that Sotul was disappointed last week because Austria beat them, and it was a huge upset. It's just surprising to see Russia not having a 0 by their losses, that's all.
Yeah, for sure. We were expecting Russia to be doing a little bit better. That result last week was a bit of an upset. Group D then. We have South Korea 3-1, Portugal 1-2. In the middle, still a lot to play for. We will be seeing games today. Hong Kong versus Hungary is actually our first, and it's a pretty big one, Dan.
Yeah, it's good. It's for Hungary. If they win it, then they've got a very good chance of getting through. If Hong Kong lose it, they've got a very good chance of just being out of the competition. But if Hong Kong wins, then it really brings this group close together. It's very tight in the middle.
Yeah, a lot to play for, and they really need to try and get that win on the board, because if you do fall to 1 and 3, that's when things start to get a little bit scary. Group E, then we'll move across to Italy. Again, sitting pretty 3-0. They should be relatively comfortable to move forward, but they still do have to play out their remaining games to make sure they can qualify. At the bottom, Japan and Finland going up against each other.
I'm very excited about Italy because Italy is my team in the Global Games.
When did that happen? Last time I casted with you, UK was your team. You jumping ship like that?
Italy was my team. I think 2 weeks ago I decided
okay.
Italy was my team. We're not supposed to have our home country as our team.
Oh, right,
That's why they changed. But I'm half Italian. That's the main reason I went for Italy, which is sort of still cheating. But they just seem like a pretty good team to root for with their 2-0 score, which is now 3-0. Finland, yeah, they're a little bit disappointed there at the bottom. They're a team that's all about community, all about inviting as many players into their Hearthstone scene as possible. It's still possible for them, but a lot has to go their way if they want to qualify to the next round.
Can I call you the Italian stallion for the rest of the day?
You absolutely can.
Perfect.
That is
Group
encouraged.
F then. Canada, again, absolutely dominant so far in the global games. They're 3-0 with Malaysia as well. Kazakhstan, now Dan, this is something that surprised me as well. When I knew that Neymar was on the roster, I was thinking Kazakhstan might be able to upset a few people, but instead they're sat down there at 0-3.
It's a very polarized group, isn't it? I mean, you could argue in the global games that, yeah, one person could bring the whole group, the whole team forward. But on the other side, if there's 3 players talking and maybe throwing some confusion into the mix, it can cause problems. Team Denmark was saying in an interview, I think it was Crane saying that, like, our team knows that if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. So it is possible that actually more players can just lead to confusion and poor performance.
We've seen that a lot actually throughout the global games, a lot of roping happening, but moving across Group G then, seeing us sit at the top of that one, it is Turkey at 2-0 and Singapore down at 0-2. Of course, we are in Poland right now in the Polish office, but it's 1-2 for them. Do you think they could possibly qualify for the second phase?
I think Poland are the best team in the Hearthstone Global Games, and I'm saying that from my own free will, absolutely.
I'm glad. Okay, let's move on to Group H then. Ukraine 3-0, Czech Republic 3-0, again dominant performances. I mean, judging by how that group is gone, both of those should be comfortable to move through to the second one. It's in the middle. It's Belarus, Philippines, and Germany. I mean, again, Germany's a country that I thought was going to be doing a little bit better, but they're sat down there with Croatia.
Germany is one of the most surprising, I think, results of the Hearthstone Global Games. Super JJ, Life Coach, Camlin, and Viper, all incredible players. Germany could probably have filled out a second team with how many good players they have and have it be just as good. And yeah, Croatia not looking good. They're playing today. Again, it's still possible for them to qualify, but with a 1-9 game score, I don't know. It's not looking good. The game's probably more important for Belarus's side today.
It's an awkward situation to be in at 0-3 for sure. I mean, as you said, they are playing today, so they could be the first team confirmed, definitely not qualifying for the second phase, which is something that no country is going to want to have. You don't want to be the first team that's going to be knocked out of the competition.
First team to not qualify, yeah.
Exactly. But let's have a look and see what matches we are going to be seeing today then. We've got Hong Kong versus Hungary coming up first on your screen. Second, Indonesia versus Sweden, followed by China, Switzerland, Thailand versus United Kingdom, which of course I'm not excited for, and then Belarus versus Croatia is the final game of the day. Any standout games for you there, Dan?
We touched on a few of them today. Obviously, Hong Kong versus Hungary coming up first. I think that's going to be a great one. There's a lot of games where, as we said right at the start, if the team loses, they're as good as out of the competition, which is, you know, everything to play for. But I've got to say, UK versus Thailand, both because we're a little bit biased, and also just because that group, the way it's turned out, USA, Netherlands at the top, like third place could go, it looks like it could go to Thailand or the UK. And so Thailand versus the UK just seems like it's going to potentially even decide the group.
There's a lot of pressure as well on the UK boys, people saying that they should be qualifying against Thailand as well. I think they'll be expected to win, but we'll see that one later on. First game of the day, of course, is going to be Hungary versus Hong Kong. Dan, do you have any favourites for this game?
I don't know. I think you'd have to give it to Hong Kong just based off of the names. Yulsik, Blitzchung. These are some names that, although these guys aren't the most well-known players on either team, they're the names that will probably stand out to your average Hearthstone viewer back home.
Are you saying we're giving it to them because they've got better names, or because their names are cooler, or what?
Better, more well-known.
Okay,
There we
I'm
go.
with
If
you.
we're going to be picky about
On the side of Hungary, then Ixago as well is just a player that I've been watching and watching him improve really week after week, and I'm excited to see how this one is going to go down. Of course, we've got the lovely sites, and we always call them lovely, but I don't think they were going to shoot a country and not find the good stuff.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's the word you're supposed to avoid.
Oh, but now you've just said it.
Oops.
Ah, for goodness sake. But yes, this is an exciting one, as I said. In terms of group standings, Hong Kong 1 and 2, Hungary 2 and 1. A lot to play for. If Hong Kong were to fall to 1 and 3, then that's when everything starts to get a little bit more difficult. Dan, now, I haven't been on the Global Games for 4 or 5 weeks now, and the meta was shifting a lot week to week. It seems to me like it's calmed down quite a bit now.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think over the past week since you've been here last that anything's really developed, any new decks that have surprised you?
So you're right, it's calmed down. The expansion came out a few weeks ago, and things have mostly stabilized. But there seems to be one little meta standout every single week. Last week it was Secret Mage, or maybe that was the week before. I don't know. Over the last few weeks, Secret Mage has really been rising to power. But this week, the one I'd have to call out to is probably Evolve Shaman. I've seen a lot of it around the top 100 on Legend over the last few days. It seems to be blowing up. Whether it's blown up in time for teams to have tested it and want to put it into their global games lineup, I don't know. But that's just one to watch out for, I think.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it today. We'll see. Let's have a look at the matchup then and see which classes are going to be brought. So we're going to see Yulsik versus Xer first, and it's going to be Hunter and Paladin for Yulsik, and Warlock and Warrior for Xer. And now, this is something that always happens. Warlock gets brought, and we're like, okay, so Warrior is definitely going to be played here. Is there even a slightest weeny little bit of a chance that Warlock could be played?
Yeah, if Yulsik believe that Xer is going to take the Warrior, and therefore think, I'm going to take this deck because it's favored against Warrior, and then Xer could pull the old bait and switch and say, actually, my Warlock's favored against that deck, and bring that. It's possible. We've seen a few Warlocks over the last few weeks. 3 weeks ago, we saw Warlock actually go 3 wins, 0 losses. Like every time it was picked, it won. Last week, I think it went like 2 wins, 1 loss. But the point is, we have seen some Warlock being played. It's no real surprise, though, that on this occasion, it's going to be Warrior versus Paladin.
Warrior versus Paladin, which has just, it seems to be turning into quite a classic matchup, to be honest. Very popular decks. Of course, we don't know which variant of both it's going to be at the moment, but, you know, there's just really the Quest Warrior, and yes, Pirate Warrior is a possibility. Some have tried Control Warrior. I know there have been, like, dips in and out of it. They've tried to get away from the Quest variant, but really, Quest variant is just a little bit better.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, they've been switching. There's been a resurgence of Quest Warriors recently, at least on the ladder, again, around the top ranks. I've seen more Quest Warriors recently than Pirate Warriors, though there's a fair amount of each. When the expansion first came out, it seemed that Quest Warrior was better. Then after some time, people started playing Pirate Warrior and decided that's better. And now it's leaning back towards the Quest. So I don't know, it keeps changing.
And have we seen, do you think, any patterns then with people choosing decks and playing similar decks throughout the global games? For example, do we see Xer always bringing Warrior? Is this a tendency throughout the global games that there seems to be a pattern?
Again, I'm going to bring up that name Morgalad that we mentioned earlier. I believe what he did was the first 2 weeks he brought Pirate Warrior, and then the third week he brought Quest Warrior. And he, I guess, thought his opponents would have researched him, worked out, hang on, he's brought Warrior every time, saw he's bringing Warrior this week, thought, right, that's going to be a Pirate Warrior. And then again, it's the old bait and switch, works every time.
And, of course, you can see all the players sat with each other as well. They are allowed to join each other for all their games, and they can discuss things over communications over the internet as well. It is always good. I like it when teams get together for these things.
Playing Hearthstone together?
No,
That's
right.
the best way of doing
Such
it. Really.
2017 kids, these guys. But it is nice. It's nice that they invite people over to their houses and they get together. Of course, you have gaming houses that help nowadays. But, I mean, you're representing your country. Your national pride is on the line, so why not get together and try and get your best, really?
It's part of the major selling point for Hearthstone, I think. I mean, when I all those years ago when I first started playing it, some of my best memories are just getting a bunch of friends together and doing an arena run together. And it was just so much fun talking through every single play. Hearthstone has been designed, I think, with that in mind, so you can watch your friends over the shoulder and have just as much fun as they have playing the game. And I agree with you. I think it's so much fun to see that these teams have come together and they're representing their community all in one place.
Well, Quest Warrior against, well, a Murloc-Adin, Control Paladin. does have Finger in. That's a lot of ins.
You just, yeah.
Is there Ilder in?
Ilder in?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who's in?
Not me.
Okay, great.
I'm out. If you keep saying in.
So, Quest Warrior.
So-
I mean, for me, I am a fan of playing Quest Warrior in this deck, in this matchup, sorry. But if it does go to the late game, I have seen the kind of Control Paladin win this matchup.
Well, it depends just how controlly the Paladin is. I think that's the most interesting thing as we piece together this deck card by card. We've seen Finger, which usually implies that it's a little bit more aggressive. But then we've seen Spike Ridge Steed, which usually implies that it's a little bit slower. It's actually very hard to tell just where on this Paladin spectrum that we've been memeing about for weeks, where this deck is.
And now the Murloc package has been kind of dipped in and out of throughout Paladin because a lot of people were worried about being targeted by Hungry Crabs, and then people start putting more Hungry Crabs in their decks, so then people start removing the Murlocs, so then people start removing Hungry Crabs, and it seems to be back and forth at the moment. You've got to be confident to be putting Murlocs in your deck, it seems.
Well, that's how metas happen, right?
It is.
The thing is about tech choices in this tournament is that you could be pretty unlucky if you go into... If you tech a deck to beat another deck, and then see that other deck doesn't appear in that matchup, so it's difficult to know whether even making these tech decisions is right for the Hearthstone Global Games. And if it's wrong, like if people playing Hungry Crabs ends up being wrong, then playing Paladin becomes better. So I think it's a format that favors Paladin over Hungry Crabs, really.
It's just able to steamroll out of control sometimes if you have that Murloc package with the Paladin. Of course, he doesn't have the immediate early game threat.
This is pretty good, though. Hungary don't have a Fiery War Axe in their hand, which is pretty important because it means that Hong Kong, if they feel confident enough, they can just answer the Stonehill Defender that's about to come down with Murloc Wool Eater and make the trade. They're really going to think about the Stonehill Defender for a long time. It sucks that they don't have another play. They don't really want to use the coin on turn 2. I think their XR really has to just hope that he picks up another 3-drop in the next turn, and this is not the best selection of taunts.
Definitely not, as you said. The curve isn't great following this turn. I mean, do you just take Booty Bait Bodyguard here? Cornered Sentry is tempting with something like a Ravaging Ghoul, perhaps, so that is going to be the pick in the end. But as you said, this is going to be traded off so effectively by Hong Kong.
He can play it with Ravaging Ghoul, as you said. The scary thing about Cornered Sentry against Paladin is that Paladin have a card called Sunkeeper Tarim. And Sunkeeper Tarim can buff all of those 1/1s into 3/3s. So when XR plays the Corner Sentry, he has to kill them immediately. Though it's not looking like he's going to get a good chance to do that.
Might just have to play it straight away. It doesn't seem good to me. I'd be half tempted just to pass this one, to be honest. But you just want to get towards completing that quest. You're in a race, and you're already losing this race quite significant because there's just 2 Murlocs on the board. They're just going to start bashing you in the face for 7 every turn.
Yeah, XR needs to just sit tight, keep his life total as high as possible. Eventually he'll get a reset. Eventually he'll draw a Whirlwind or a Ravaging Ghoul and he'll be able to play Ghoul Sleep with the Fishes. Or maybe he'll draw a Brawl and be able to play that. Incredibly relevant cards against Paladin, which is a class that has a tendency of going very, very wide. They don't necessarily need the help from this 2-mana Taunt Minion, Cornered Sentry.
There's a Tidecaller as well, so they are running the extreme early game package. With the Murlocs here.
But again, Primordial Drake and Stonehill Defender are cards that indicate that it's a late-game Murloc deck, so...
That's why it's just become like Murlocadin. That people aren't calling it Aggro Paladin or Control Paladin, they're just saying, well, it's a Murloc Bloomin' Paladin.
Alright, Tyrion comes off the first Discover from your 6 side. That's a little bit better than Cornered Sentry, I'd say.
Yeah, 2 Tyrions seem to always help. Do you think this is going to go right down to the wire and into the late game then? Do we think we're going to see the quest completed from the Warrior and then we're going to start to see those 50-50 rag shots to kind of make or break this game?
It really depends on what the next few draws are from Team Hong Kong. If they pick up a Gentle Megasaur soon, just a way of buffing all of their Murlocs, like if your sick just goes wide here, plays Farfin Inquisitor, Murloc Tidecaller, Hero Power, and then draws a Gentle Megasaur, the game could just end like that. And that, yeah, as you were grimacing about
that Repentance
while I
was
was
awesome.
talking.
Like, it's one of the best cards actually to get it on. Nice and easy clear up possibility now for your sick.
No Enrage for you.
No, indeed. And a nice tidy turn as well. They could just play the Tidecaller, Inquisitor as well. Buff him up with another Murloc dude. Then you're in a good position. I mean, yes, okay, perhaps you're going into the Brawl turn for your opposition, so you're a little bit worried about that one.
It does seem like the game is sort of stable at the moment for Team Hong Kong here. You're right, a Brawl would reset, but again, even if Brawl got picked up next turn, it uses up XR's entire turn, and then allows Yosik to put more stuff on the board.
It's also a good bait for the Brawl as well, because your board's not particularly threatening.
Yeah.
But it's threatening enough to try and encourage it out.
I imagine Yosik will go wide here and try and encourage it. Yeah, okay, so sure, Hero Power, Murloc, Hero Powers. Seems good.
Yeah, encourage it without putting the Tidecaller on board so you have another option to go with if everything is brawled away. I like that.
Obviously, Whirlwind Sleep with the Fishes is an option here, and as XR picks up the second Sleep with the Fishes, looks like he's going to go for it. He's now got Primordial Drake, which he can play with the second Sleep with the Fishes later. That may have been... The Whirlwind may have been exactly what XR needed to come back into this game. To answer your earlier question, I think the quest now probably does get completed, though the two Tyrians are going to... well, they're going to give Team Hungary a big headache.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. As soon as we get to that turn 8, you can slap Tyrion after Tyrion. The Warrior's just going to be thinking, well, what the hell do I do with two Tyrions? I mean, if they can remove both and not give them the advantage of having both 5/3 weapons, then they might be okay. But if they're able to swing 6 times for 5 damage, then that is very concerning.
Yeah, that's 30 damage that right there. Often the Ashbringer will be swinging into a taunt minion, obviously, so it's not just 30 damage to end the game. There's a ways to go before we get there, though, and Yosik actually has a pretty bad turn lined up here. It looks like it's just going to be Murloc Tidecaller Hero Power. Make a 2/2 and a 1/1.
Unfortunately, it has to be, which is crazy, because next turn, again, it's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, he's got Consecration to deal with anything, perhaps, but he's not really putting any real threats on the board. It's going to be that turn 8 when he's really getting the business going. For Hungary now, Ali Armorsmith seems a very comfortable play.
Yep.
I don't think they need to worry about anything else. Should be a quick decision here. And that's how it's going to go through.
Slam is going to be helpful later to pop a Divine Shield, I think, off of a Tyrion. But as you said, a very uncomfortable turn for Yosik here. However, the Murloc Tidecaller survived, and now Yosik is able to play Hero Power, Valve Inquisitor, Hero Power, buffing that Murloc Tidecaller and making it a 5/2. Which means he won't quite have the power to get rid of the Ali Armorsmith still.
But it's a significant amount of damage. Also puts it down to 2, which means Consecration can work out next turn if you wanted to. Or Primordial Drake. Primordial Drake, of course, could deal with it quite comfortably. So this seems like a good option just to run this into the Armorsmith for me.
Yeah, I agree. Primordial Drake can be a little bit difficult because when you're playing the Murloc deck, because you tend to go wide, and then you've got a board clear that clears your own minions, so it can be a little bit difficult. Okay, it looks like Yosik has found a way of clearing the board right now. He's going to go ahead and play the Consecration. I agree with you. I think trading in the minion was very important. As we can see, there's a slam there, which would have been an immediate punish. But now, Yosik has the boards temporarily.
I kind of liked keeping the Consecration, but I understand him just wanting to remove that threat immediately. Not allow any crazy armor game. And now this is the business end for the Paladin.
Yeah, Yosik has to play Tyrion from behind on the board, which is a little bit of a shame, though. It's still no easy task for XR to clear this. In fact, it doesn't look like he can clear it this turn. Just starts with a slam and hopes to draw something good, I guess.
I mean, in theory, he could clear it with Sleep with the Fishes if he really wanted to, but it seems a bit overkill.
Yeah.
That helps, for sure.
It helps. But what is the board state that you're creating with that play? You're using up 4 mana and trading in your minion. You're taking 6 damage, giving your opponent an Ashbringer, and I guess developing a Tile Creeper because that's the best you can do at that point. I think I prefer this.
It seems like the safer play. I mean, the alternative is you slam first, see what you find.
Yeah.
But, as you said, you're not building up enough of a board presence, so it does seem like Primordial Drake might be a safer option.
And he'd have been taking like 1 million damage in the process, like you said, like face tanking the Tyrion, taking 5 from the Ashbringer. Yeah.
Certainly a lot of discussion going on between the Hungary teammates, and usually that would suggest there is a little bit of a disagreement. If it's not going to be played instantly, there's someone that's saying, well, we could be doing this play instead.
Or there's someone just saying, just wait, don't make the play yet. Let's just go through every single
option,
outcome.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 people playing on each team. There is no reason not to consider everything. Often the players will have different tasks. spread among them as well. Like maybe one guy is hand tracking, saying, right, that card's been in his hand for a long time. That card came from Stonehill Defender, you know, and so each of the players will have a specific job to do, and they're also going to want to be very, very careful about the moves that they make.
Do you clear the board if you're Hong Kong here? Do you use True Silver plus the Rockpool Hunter to deal with everything? Or do you just drop another 8 mana cost card? Do you drop a Ragnaros Light? You don't really want to drop Ragnaros the Light Lord. It seems a bit overkill. I mean, yes, okay, it's an 8/8, so it's a nice body.
So Yorsik can trade Tyrion into the Curator, trade the Murloc in, and then play Rag Light Lord, which means that Tyrion will be restored back to full health. So that's potentially a good way of doing it, though as you say, it is quite all in. It looks like that's the play he's going for, though.
Okay. I'm okay with it. As I said, I was thinking you use the Rockpool Hunter onto the Murloc, use the True Silver and clear everything.
Yeah.
But I guess Hong Kong, they really want to be able to start building up a board presence here because that quest is being closer and closer to being completed from Hungary.
The only reason I like this play is because there's a second Tyrion in hand.
Yep.
I think it would be a little bit risky. If Hungary won a brawl here, then that would just be the end of the game if there was no more Tyrion. Exar is able to complete the quest now. I believe his quest counter is 5 out of 7. So he could just play Direhorn, Hatchling, and Tar Creeper, though that is letting Yorsik continue to dominate the board.
A very awkward turn for Hungary here, actually.
I wonder if this is the turn where they start with the Slam. They could play Primordial Drake and get rid of Tyrion, but then that Rag Light Lord is just going to live forever.
Forever? That's a long time.
Forever. Forever in terms of this game of Hearthstone, at least. It will feel like
to be fair,
forever.
Ragnaros always lives on in my heart, so that's all that matters.
It will feel like forever to Team Hungary. Going to start off with a Slam, but running out of time. This is the problem now with the team play, because they're not going to have time to discuss the card that was just drawn. There you go. Quest complete.
So this is where it starts to get a little bit more awkward for Hong Kong now. They need to start worrying about Sulfuras coming down. And of course, Die Insect dealing 8 damage time after turn. And Spike Rich Steed coming out of the deck now. But I was going to say, Primordial Drake seems very solid here.
This is just too strong, right?
Too strong.
Ragnaros can then trade in. Ragnaros then heals himself back up to 8 health. This is what I mean about him living forever.
Do you trade him with Ragnaros, or do you use your Ashbringer here?
Oh, yeah.
Clean everything up, and then you go face, because Rag will heal himself up. Or you up, I guess.
You're right. It's the same difference. Oh, no, wait. No, because I think you trade in the Ragnaros because the Drake is dealing damage to the Ragnaros. It means that everything just stays on full health. Whereas if you now trade the weapon in, yeah, you develop more damage.
Yep.
But
you don't have an AA on board if you do it. Yeah, that seems like a solid plan. The healing, of course, more effective onto Rag.
This is what I mean. He just lives forever, right? Makes all the trades he wants. Hungary need to pick up that brawl. And even then, it doesn't seem good enough. I guess he's going to hope his Ragnaros Hero Power beats Hong Kong's Ragnaros.
Yeah, that's the risk, really. I mean, you could go Ravaging Ghoul into Sulfuras into Die Insect.
Ravaging Ghoul looks invaluable here just because it actually damages everything, meaning Ragnaros is less likely to fully restore something.
But just that lack of brawl from Hungary has really hurt them so far. It always seems like when you're on the opposite side, you're like, they're going to have a brawl. But it's just not been there.
You know what would be really good for XR? A card called Execute. Don't think we've seen one yet.
We haven't. Execute always helps, so now he's going to have to just start playing the risque game.
Going to go with the Sulfuras here. It looks like... I like it a lot. Ravaging Ghoul first to get rid of the 1/1, making sure that hero power doesn't hit anything too weak. Let's see where it goes now. I think he wants it... Well, he probably wants it to hit Rag, but if he hits the Drake, it's not so bad either. It's gonna go face. That's a disaster.
Yeah, not the best outcome there. Of course, he can clean up the Drake thanks to Sleep with the Fishes. A good position now. That's 13 damage.
Best outcome was certainly hitting Rag. It would have allowed XR to actually clear up the entire board there with that Sleep with the Fishes. Didn't quite go that way, though, and Yorsik is able to develop a second Tyrion if he wants. I wonder...
Do you steed this?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I wonder, because...
You steed this, then trade your Ashbringer into the Ghoul. Make it awkward,
yeah,
perhaps.
Ragnaros then heals back up again. Wait, do you... Okay.
I guess you don't even
Do you know what? Yorsik sees the play.
Yeah.
Who needs to trade, Dan?
Me go face.
Me go face.
Perfectly fine. I've noticed this a lot actually throughout my my playing of Hearthstone. Is I do tend to go for the safer options, and I don't get aggressive enough.
Yeah,
and it's something that I noticed when I was playing with you, and you just like
You trade too much for sure. But there's the execute. Finally it gets picked up.
But now he needs to put a wall in the way. Even the execute, he still needs to be able to put a wall in the way so that Yosik can't get that damage out.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. Funny thing, when Ragnaros Lightlord was first announced, people thought the card was bad because a lot of people hadn't realized that it can attack. Because original Ragnaros couldn't attack. They didn't realize this one heals itself and attacks, so yeah.
So you go for the 1 in 4 here, try and hit the 2/6. I'm trying to think of the safest option here for Hungary.
I think if you hero power, you do it first because you want it to hit the hit the 2/6.
Yeah. If you can, then in theory you can survive here.
Yeah. If it hits the 2/6, you're in the best position.
Times are taken though.
He's considering Primordial Drake, I think. With that, he can clear the whole board, but he puts himself on 2 health. Yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah, so it doesn't get to weave in the Die Insect, but as you said, clearing the board still very important. But Hong Kong now need to get through a 4/8 body.
Stabilizing is the most important thing for XR right now. He wants to pick up a shield block or something just to gain that armor again. What he does not want to see is a second Tyrion Fordering created by Stonehill Defender.
No one wants to see that, unless you're Yosik.
But I imagine that XR knew it was coming. Again, someone would have been tracking the hands. Dire Horn Matriarch, not a card that you see played very often, just because of the nature of the card. You have to lose the first Dino, and then that gets shuffled into the deck, and then you play it. Actually, 6/9 for 5 mana.
Yeah, I mean, the Hatchling has been a popular one here and there. I've seen a few people remove it, and then it came back into it. Of course, everyone trying it with the Enzoth variant that we saw for a while as well. But yeah, 6/9 is a really important body, especially actually in the mirror. The 6/9 is a very important body with the Quest Warrior matchup. That's a 1/1.
It's probably... The thing is, they didn't make the trade. They didn't trade Primordial Drake in to pop the Divine Shield. So they sort of played for that to happen.
So regardless of the fact they are on 2 health at the moment, I mean, Hungary are somewhat stabilizing here. They are just building as big of a wall as possible and hoping that Hong Kong can't get through it. But with Tyrion, as you said, the Divine Shield not being lost, there's a second execute.
That's no good now, though, is it? There's nothing to activate it. The problem is, Hungary only have 1 taunt left in their hand. They actually need to play the Acolyte of Pain sooner rather than later. First and foremost, they need the hero power to get rid of Tyrion.
But even if it does, are they still dead? Either way, it's not going to happen. And now I believe with the True Silver Champion in hand, that should be game 4 Hong Kong.
Yep. Unless I'm missing something very obvious here.
Yeah, it should be a relatively comfortable one. Of course, Tyrion just runs in. Yeah, it's nice and comfortable, and Hong Kong will be delighted with themselves. Of course, that second Tyrion, absolutely massive from the Stonehill Defender, really helped swing this game. But they were able to get an early lead, which Hungary really couldn't compete with. Unfortunately, no brawls coming through from Hungary. That first execute took far too long to come out of the deck.
Did.
If it was out a little bit earlier, if we had seen the brawl, perhaps we could have gone further into this game. But it is going to be Hong Kong taking game 1, and there's some smiles on their faces. I'd be happy as well, especially when you're 1 and 2 in the league table and you know how important this game is.
Brawl is certainly one of the most important cards in that matchup, as you just highlighted there, and the execute's coming too late. It just wasn't going to do it. No way of getting past these Primordial Drakes easily. Wide Murloc board nice and early. Yeah, there was the Whirlwind Sleep with the Fishes reset early on, but it was... I don't want to say it was too little too late, but it was too little. And even though the Paladin had some slow turns leading up to Tyrion, they just had Murloc Tidecaller hero power on turn 6, and then something equally bad on turn 7. 2 Tyrions kind of wins games.
And no Fiery War Axe as well at the start. I think that was significant. And being able to get Hydrologist on the board, followed by the War Leader, they were able to get immediate damage. And of course, yeah, the Whirlwind Sleep with the Fishes, that helped them get back into it. But really, we needed to see a brawl. But we'll have a look, and we'll move on and look at the players again and see who's going to be going up next. It's going to be Blitzchung versus Chaincaller, and it is going to be the Mage off. Mage versus Mage, Paladin and Shaman get whipped away, and we're going to have the Mages. I mean, Mage has developed quite considerably over the past few weeks. Of course, Secret Mage has really blown everyone away. Everyone was quite surprised with how successful it's been. Do you still think the Discover Mage or the Burn Mage, I still don't know what people are wanting to call it, do you still think that's the most popular variant?
I think Secret Mage might be slightly more popular at the moment, though I think we could see one of 4 mages today and tomorrow. Honestly, I think that we're likely to see a lot of Secret Mages and a lot of Discover Mages. I think we might see Freeze Mage. I've seen quite a bit of it over the last few days. And I think we might see Quest Mage. I think it's possible. I believe it was Rage that popularized the deck recently, and I know that Tars has been playing it a lot on ladder. It's become not popular, but playable again.
I mean, all I've seen of Quest Mage is
Quest Rage, very good.
Quest Rage by Mage. It's a bit of a meme. Everyone was like, "Nah, Quest Mage, yeah, okay, you can get that one-turn kill." What's the consistency like? Have they managed to find a bit more consistency with it?
I believe the current version is actually a Giants version rather than the Antonidas one-turn kill version.
Yep, okay.
It's several Molten Giants, several Arcane Giants. The idea is obviously eventually you plonk all the Giants on the board, you complete the quest, you activate the quest.
Play Alexstrasza.
And then, yeah, exactly. And sometimes you don't even need Alexstrasza. Like if you drop 4 Giants, that's a lot of damage.
And yeah, I think you're right. We might see Freeze Mage today. Of course, Secret Mage has been very popular on ladder because people just want to have those quick games. They want to be at the bus stop, and they're saying, yeah, I just want to like smash out a game nice and quick. But Freeze Mage is something that is popularized in these kind of formats because you can be a lot slower, a lot more methodical about your play, and you can discuss things here and there.
I just want to say, George C is playing later today. We'll see Freeze Mage.
I heard a rumor that he's the best Freeze Mage in the world. I don't know if this is correct.
Where did you hear that rumor?
I heard that from his mouth, actually.
Right, okay. It looks like it's going to be the Discover Mage, though. Probably. It's very difficult
This is the
to say.
thing. They've all got so many similar cards now.
Meteor is the card that's making me think it's Discover Mage.
Yeah.
I've got to say, personally, I think Meteor is one of my favorite cards from Ungaro. It's very, very strong in certain matchups, like against Silence Priest and against Jade things. Pyroblast could still be secret.
Meteor is my least favorite card because I put a big old minion on the board and then someone plays Primordial Glyph and they go, oh, I just found a Meteor and I'm just going to like whisk it off the board. It's frustrating, Dan.
Guess I've played against you a few times.
You have.
On the ladder.
Yeah.
Or my kind have.
Archaeologist off the top is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, Chaincaller's going to be sad here. He didn't start with a Mana Worm. His opponent did. His deck, don't think we've mentioned, his deck is almost definitely a Discover Mage. We can see at least the Trailblazer in there. Don't believe she's made it into any Secret Mages just yet. Alexstrasza also a heavy indication. Problem is, Chaincaller's going to be picking up his Mana Worms a little bit later when he doesn't want them as much. And Hong Kong's Mana Worm, it's already getting pretty big. It's a 3/3.
Thankfully for Hungary, of course, Medivh's Valet is in hand, and they got the Ice Block from the Archaeologist, which is, of course, a fantastic activator for Medivh's Valet. Something that perhaps the Secret Mage lacks. I know there's a lot of Secret Mage that hasn't been running the Ice Block, and they have struggled to activate Medivh's Valet. We have seen Secret Mages with Ice Block as well, but this is why the Discover variant can be a little bit more consistent for sure.
Okay, with Medivh the Guardian picked up from Hong Kong there. Looks like it's all but confirmed.
Would you just take another Pyroblast?
I think you do. It depends. Do you think that Chaincaller is going to play a good spell soon? Probably not. I think I'd just take the Pyroblast here. Raven would certainly take the Pyroblast. He actually...
Well, in Raven's opinion, every Primordial Glyph has a Pyroblast.
He actually quite annoyed Sottle, I think, with the constant talk of oh yeah, Glyph, just grab a Pyroblast, hit him in the face, for 8 mana.
The Pyroblast Glyph.
The pre-nerf Pyroblast.
The Mana Bind, I like. I'm okay with it.
Raven's
you
gonna
could
have
pick up
words with Blitzchung.
I mean, you could pick up later something like an Ice Block, which could be significant. But you really have to save that. You need to decide: are you going to play it now, and you're likely to pick up maybe something like a Frostbolt or like an Intellect, which we can see, of course.
You can also
hedge your
fake.
bets.
You can also fake the counterspell, right? Like the thing is, Chaincaller now has to play around every secret. It's not Mirror Entity. He knows that much.
Yeah, and that was a very quick play. That was a very well. If this is Mirror Entity, who cares? I'll give him a 5/5.
Yeah.
Which just surprises me. I thought there might have been a little bit of a hesitation there.
Well, board control at this early point of the game in this matchup doesn't seem to matter as much, apart from when Mana Worms run wild. There's a Flame Strike, there's a Frostbolt. You know, Chaincaller could have cleared it up eventually. The real problem with board control is when it comes from Medivh the Guardian.
Yeah.
Medivh the Guardian with the Atiash into Firelands Portal is just horrible to deal with. That's where Meteor can come in very handy.
Definitely can. Get rid of those big threats.
It's been a while since I've seen this matchup, and I think there's an element of just racing to it. I almost feel as though Chaincaller has a good chance simply because he has the Alexstrasza in hand, though he needs to pick up some more burnt damage as soon as possible.
Honestly, I think the glyphs are huge in this matchup. If you can pick up another Ice Block, I don't know if they're running Babbling Books, but Babbling Books can also be massive because, again, can provide you with another Ice Block. And just having 3 compared to your opponent's 2 can just flat out win you a game.
Yeah, Babbling Books kind of flow in and out of the meta. In and out of these decks, I mean.
Hong Kong immediately on the back foot, though. Having to do something about the 5/5 body. So just freezing it for now. There's another glyph for Hungary this time.
Yeah, you can just ping it away next turn.
So I think you start with Intellect rather than the glyph. And there's the mana bind.
Okay, well, Blitzchung nodding and smiling there as he picks up a 0 mana Arcane Intellect. Yeah, you can see why that would come in handy. As Chaincaller uses his entire turn to draw 4 cards.
See, I wonder if Chaincaller was considering the mana bind there and if he preferred giving his opponent the Arcane Lintic rather than the Primordial Glyph.
I think you do, as you say, prefer to give the Arcane Intellect.
I think you do, yeah.
But it's still so strong.
Because it's just better, it's just easier to track what your opponent might have. The thing with the glyphs, it's so hard to read your opponent because you're like, okay, they played a glyph. What on earth do they have in their hand now? What am I even playing around?
At least you've got a pretty good idea of what he's going to run in his deck. As he picks up the Meteor, I imagine Blitzchung is going to go the Medivh the Guardian route and try and set up a board where he can, next turn, just coin out Medivh the Guardian. Something that we haven't been jumping up and down about in excitement, which maybe we should have been, is that Chaincaller's just picked up Archmage Antonidas, which is not common in Discover Mage.
It's not. It's been tried and tested. It's here and there. I can jump up and down if you want me to.
Yeah, I think you should. Thank you. I can confirm Dan just jumped up and down.
There's that Ice Block I was talking about.
There it is, yeah. As you said, one of the most relevant cards you can get from Primordial Glyph, as XR already has 2 Ice Blocks. One on the board, one in his hand, and now an extra one in his hand.
I mean, unfortunately, he can't use the discounted cost of it to go with Archmage because, of course, already have the Ice Block down, so he can't use it. But
I've got to say, Water Elemental, not another card that's not common in Discover Mage at all. Very tempo-y. I wonder if he runs Burgly Bullies. If he's running a tempo-y deck, which has Antonidas in it, Burgly Bully can be very strong.
I like it. I like people making decisions like that and trying to be a little bit different, trying to surprise their opposition. Polymorph's a big pickup here. A nice, comfortable way to get rid of Medivh here.
I don't think he has a choice. The good thing for Chaincaller here is it allows him to just easily get the board back. He can ping away the sheet, maybe play Medivh's Valet and smack that damage into the face. He can use the Water Elemental to freeze Blitzchunk's face. Not that that's relevant. I doubt the Atiash was ever considering attacking. But as I said, Blitzchunk did. He played the Medivh the Guardian as soon as possible, and now he can just curve into Firelands Portal.
Do you use... how worried are you about the 3/6 body here? I mean, you could Fireball if you wanted. Is Firelands Portal, do you think it's just flat out too strong here to not play?
It's very good, isn't it? Like, you can just Firelands Portal away Medivh's Valet. I don't think you care too much about Water Elemental. Blitzchung picks up an Ice Block now, which is huge because he didn't have one before. And now he actually does have a way of surviving damage. Though, sometimes this matchup does get to the point where the winner is the person with the most Ice Blocks.
Yep.
Both players are down to 1 health, just pinging their opponent every turn.
And now we're going to have the game of the Firelands Portals as well. Who can get the better 5 drops?
Game of Portals. I like it.
And actually, Blitzchung has done pretty well with the drops that he's got from those.
Yeah, you know, the Curator actually having Taunt turns out to be pretty relevant.
Really helpful. Makes it
and 5/6.
Slightly more awkward.
5/6 is insanely good for Firelands Portal. I think Sottle told me that the average stats are something like 4.5 attack, 5.5 health for Firelands Portal. So 5/6, it's like well above that.
Do you know what deals with a 6/5 though?
A Firelands Portal.
Another Firelands Portal.
There was a little bit of sarcastic clapping down there.
Baron as well. Okay.
2 legendaries. That was a juicy Portal and Atiesh charge.
So this slightly affects how Blitzchung was probably going to play this one.
Flame Strike is suddenly pretty good from Hungary. Looks like Blitzchung's playing around the Flame Strike though, by preventing the Water Elemental from charging in.
Another Firelands Portal for Hungary as well. This is back and forth at the moment, and I think you just Firelands Portal Baron down, and
Yeah, I agree.
you just ping off the 5-1.
Match history for this game is just Firelands Portal, Firelands Portal, Firelands Portal.
Or do you ping off the 5-1? I suppose you could use a Frostbolt instead.
Another
The
strange
Knuckles.
thing about this game is that both of these Alexstrasas, it looks like they're going to be used defensively.
They might have to be, and that is potentially game-winning as well. We spoke about ice blocks and having the extra ice block, but the Alexstrasza can come in handy. If you can get it on the board first and have that 8-8 body that they have to deal with,
Yeah.
a very good position.
The only tricky part with that is actually, yeah, controlling the board and making sure that when you drop the Alexstrasza, it's going to be relevant.
Yeah.
It's like, ideally, you wait until they pop ice block a few times and then Alex yourself and say, well, can't deal with that. But at that point, if they're popping your ice block, they've probably got board control. So you need to be careful about that.
So I kind of like Firelands Portal and Frostbolt here, because of course the 5-1 is frozen for his own turn anyway.
Oh,
Instead-
okay.
Okay, they're going to play the race game.
Chain Caller is done with trading. Oh, wow, okay. Main thing to note here is that Baron Geddon is capable of killing Blitzchung through his own ice block. So it may get to the point where Blitzchung actually has to destroy his own Baron Geddon.
Potentially this turn as well, really.
Blitzchung definitely has to play the ice block this turn.
Yeah.
That
And then if he
much.
doesn't kill his own Baron, then next turn Hungary just Firelands Portal face. And
Yeah.
then next turn he has to get
Yeah,
rid of it
yeah,
because
right.
of it, yeah.
So he can...
And the fact that Hungary have picked up that extra ice block as well, they're in such a comfortable position. They're like, well, why not? Let's just start throwing damage to the face now.
But Blitzchung doesn't want to be in the position where next turn his opponent's got the board and he has to waste 7 mana, or 4 mana, sorry, fireballing his own Baron Geddon. I mean, I think Blitzchung would like to just fireball Chaincaller's face, but he's not really in a position where he can get away with that. I wonder if it's time to play Primordial Glyph.
Try and find another ice block. Could be important.
Oh, wait. Wouldn't Pyroblast have popped the block? Pretty sure. Oh no, it would have been
But
one off.
he has to play the ice block.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, otherwise he's just dead.
Don't want to be just dead.
I just think Hungary in such a commanding position. Purely because of that extra ice block.
Wait a second. Chaincaller can't actually pop Blitzchung at less than 3. He can ping Blitzchung, put him at 3, and then Firelands Portal, but then Baron Geddon still won't kill him. So Baron Geddon's actually not a problem for Blitzchung just yet.
Not just yet.
Though, the many ice blocks
But
that
yeah,
Hungary
he can
have-
just play ice block and then ice block again, and by that point Baron is a problem.
I think... Have you seen how much Blitzchung is smiling? I think the reason for that is the Alexstrasza in his hand. Because he does have complete board control. He's like, okay, you can put my block, then I Alex. It's unlikely that Chaincaller will be able to deal with that straight away. Oh, this game is interesting.
I think you're right. This having the, as we said earlier, having the board control is massive when you're playing the Alex. So despite the extra ice block for Hungary, they need to somehow be able to get through. That's an Eater of Secrets.
That's the game!
That's the game. That is such a good tech in. Oh my god.
Unbelievable!
Off the top as well.
What?
Hong Kong 2-0. They give the heart signals as well because Eater of Secrets, you are the MVP of today. We don't even need to worry about the extra ice block. We don't even need to worry about Alexstrasza.
Let's just pack up and go home.
Let's just
We've
go
seen
home.
it all now.
It's done.
Oh man, do you know what? All of that analysis, all of that discussion.
Just for an Eater of Secrets.
We were talking about Alexstrasza and all of the things that could happen, all of the potential ice blocks. I don't know, man.
I would be out of there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
If you were
Eater of
Team
Secrets,
Hungary-
I'm done. But it is showing up more and more apparent. It's like, okay, you're playing Murlocs, I'm going to play Hungry Crab.
It
It's
is.
like, okay, well, a lot of people playing Secret Mage. why don't I play Eater
And
of Secrets?
do you know what? Again, now a lot of these players will be practicing on the ladder all the time, and I've got to tell you, there's a lot of mage on the ladder.
There is, yeah.
And there is actually, even in the top few hundred ranks, there is Eater of Secrets. I mentioned Tars with his quest mage. He's running Eater of Secrets. Like, it is around, and it's terrifying.
See, I had Hungary winning that one just because of the ice blocks, but
Oh yeah.
with Medivh coming down, the board control that they had, even regardless, let's forget about Eater of Secrets for a second. They were in a good position.
Right.
You were completely right. The Alexstrasza was there. They would have had the board. They would have been able to pop block after block, and there was actually no more damage left in Hungary's hand. That's what we had to point out.
Yeah. Yeah, Hungary had the Antonidas, but it didn't look like they were going to get a chance to play it. But I think we've determined what the giggling for Blitzchung was about. Maybe it was about the Alexstrasza. I think it's more likely that he was saying to his teammates, don't worry guys, we just need to wait just a few more turns, and then, then the MVP will show up.
Maybe they were looking at their deck tracker thinking that Eater of Secrets if he comes through. But I believe the next matchup is going to be Druid versus Priest.
Yep.
Then now, Silence Priest was something that everyone was saying was the kind of best Priest deck that there is. But I understand that you've been kind of teetering around with a lot of Dragon Priest
Right.
at top 100 Legend.
Okay, so last week, almost every time Priest came up, me and Sottle or Raven, whoever I was casting with, we would say, look, okay, what Priest do you expect this to be? And every time the answer was, well, yeah, it's going to be Silence Priest. That's the best deck at the moment. But you know what? More often last week, it was Dragon Priest. So I went home after the Hearthstone Global Games and said, right, I'm gonna see what this Dragon Priest deck's about. I was 3K Legend, I think. And yeah, as you said, like, I was top 100 a few days, like, yesterday.
This guy.
Dragon Priest. It's actually a really strong deck. Though, after all of that, it's going to be Silence Priest.
I mean, we saw a lot of success from Dragon Priest when we go back to DreamHack, I think it was. We saw RDU play it, and throughout Swiss, he absolutely dominated with the Dragon Priest. So I'm not entirely surprised, but we don't really need to talk about Dragon Priest anymore because, as you said,
Sadly.
Silence Priest is there.
All of my research over the last weekend, Dan. All
It's
that
for
time,
nothing.
like, yep, I'm going to play Dragon Priest. I'm going to know what I'm talking about. Okay.
On the other side, though, we do have the aggro token druid, or just the aggro druid. Does have a Hungry Crab in, not going to be effective in this matchup in terms of killing a crab, killing of Murloc, but of course it is a beast, and I think that's the important factor. A lot of people have been removing Hungry Crab here and there, they don't know whether they want it in, but just having that one drop that is a beast, another one drop except Enchanted Raven, to play Mark of Yasser on can be absolutely huge.
Weird matchup, this. Because
Yeah?
the Druids, if it's fast enough, if it you know, gets the early Mark of the Lotus that you're really bad at drawing, and gets the Savage Draw,
That I'm
then-
also really bad at drawing.
that you're also really bad at it. I was watching you play. It's actually shocking how bad you are at drawing these
I'm
cards.
just shockingly bad.
But on the flip side, if Hong Kong can get that Faceless Shambler down nice and early, I mean, so look at this hand. Hong Kong plays the Ancient Watcher. Hungary say, okay, well, we've got to push our damage to the face. Ignore it. Next turn, Hong Kong, double the health of the Ancient Watcher. At that point, Penhadani's almost definitely not going to deal with it. And then Faceless Shambler, bam, there's a 4-8 with Taunt. And that on its own probably isn't enough to stem the tide, but it's going to do a lot of work towards that.
Even better, it's 410.
It's a 4-10, not a 4-8.
And that's, unless they do
Yeah.
run something into it, and then it could be a 4-8.
5 times 2 is not 8.
But you're right,
Always does.
and it is an awkward position to be in for Hungary, where they think this could become an immediate threat. We could just outright lose the game if we don't deal with this, but then if they start trying to clean it up, they lose anyway because they don't have the board presence. They are running the Murloc package in the Aggro Druid, as you can see the War Leader there, something that Aggro Druid of course took out because they were worried about all these Hungry Crabs that were in the meta, but it looks like Hungary are more than happy to keep that one in.
I think Hearthstone is so hard to play at the top level at the moment because it's turn 1 for Kin. It's literally his first turn. And he's struggling to work out what the play is. I don't know. Like, coin out Radiant Elemental must have been tempting. Passing and waiting until next turn and then playing the Ancient Watcher must have been tempting. Like, people used to joke around and say, oh, it's turn 1, my opponent's roping. Must be really hard to work out, you know, if he wants to play shielded mini-bot or if he wants to, you know.
That's a
But-
good impression of a large amount of the community there.
Thank you.
It was really good.
But nowadays, it genuinely, even from turn 1, there are so many decisions to make. Just shows what spot the game is in right now.
And we've all been in this spot. When in Hungary's spot right now of That's a 4-5 that, yes, okay, it can't attack, but we know full well this is a Silence Priest and could have a Silence that we are going to be very concerned about. But Hungry Crab comes out first to make sure he's not going to nom down on the War Leader.
Yeah, that'd be awkward, wouldn't it?
Would be very, very awkward. I think we've all been there, where we play it first and we're like, oh, we can't play it because it kills our own.
So now, Kin has to decide whether he wants to go Shadow Visions, or Divine Spirit, or Radiant Elemental. Radiant Elemental would perhaps entice a trade, though it wouldn't be a strong board position. Okay, gonna go with the safe play.
This is the most defensive option, is just to get a 4-10 on the board immediately that you know on turn 4, you're gonna have a big old taunt that they're gonna have to deal with.
The ulterior option I was thinking about is going for Shadow Visions, grabbing another Divine Spirit, or a Powered Shield, and next turn playing Powered Shield and Divine Spirit.
It depends how much they want to wait, really. It's a game that they don't really want to seesaw around with, because if you start thinking, oh, we've got more time, you think you've got more time than you have, and then your next thing you know, the Mark of the Lotuses come down, the Savage Roars come down, and you just start to get your health chipped away out. That's a double rope.
We're struggling to see this Discover here. Hopefully, in a second it will... Okay, well, he took a Purify, which I am surprised about. Like I said, I thought he'd go for a Powered Shield. We don't know if he was offered it or not. Really good thing going for Kin here is he's now got the Humongous Razor Leaf to cover into as well.
Yes, so that's what I was thinking with the whole Patient game.
Right.
That this is their second option, is to wait for the Razor Leaf. Then you can put the Purify onto it now if you wanted to. It depends what they want to play here. Do they want to just make a big old taunt and hope that they can't get through? Or do they want to go down the Purify route of we're just going to kill them first? And for me, that's a very difficult decision. I personally would like the more defensive route.
Yeah.
However, it depends how confident you are. You are 2-0 up in this series.
Okay, so the thing is, if you can put a 420 up with Taunt, then you probably win the game against the Druid. And it sounds like I'm joking, but that's genuinely a common play. I wonder if Kin will go Radiant Elemental Purify here and hope to pick up a Powered Shield.
That's a lot of hope.
It is, but...
It's potentially a game-winning play.
There's so much damage coming down. I feel as though Kin has to just get rid of that Murloc War Leader. If a Bluegill Warrior was to get picked up from Hungary here, it would be a disaster. So Radiant Elemental, Purify the Ancient Watcher, trade it into the Murloc War Leader. It leaves Hungary with a board that doesn't trade away the Radiant Elemental easily. Of course, we can see there's a swipe, and that will actually deal with everything. Unless there's a Powered Shield off the top. No, there isn't. Okay.
Just an Acolyte. Just more card draw. Not really what Hong Kong are wanting to see right now. There's the Mark of Yasharaj.
It's no good this turn, though. Oh, wait. No, maybe it is.
Use it on the Hungry Crab if you want to.
Do you see how quickly Penhadani went to hover over the swipe?
Yeah.
He realized at the same time as I did, oh, wait a second. No, this is actually, it's actually better. And now, look how strong Penhadani's hand is. He's got Living Mana and Bitter Tide Hydra. He can choose which one he wants to play on turn 5.
And now this is the thing. So Hong Kong went for the Patient option. They haven't got the route now of putting Faceless Shambler down and putting a Taunt on the board. So all they can do realistically on this turn is put a 4-8 on the board that isn't silenced. And that's just something that Penna might just ignore.
Okay, so I think I think Kin does that and also drops the... I mean, I think you drop the Clout just to be defensive here.
Yeah.
I hope that Hungry Crab trades into it. The good thing about picking up the second Faceless Shambler is it means that Kin can play one next turn, and the following turn, he can play Divine Spirit and then play the other one. I actually think that the second Faceless Shambler pickup has put Kin in an okay spot, though this is a lot of pressure to have to put up with.
The good thing for Hong Kong is they've not seen Mark of the Lotus. They've not seen Power of the Wild. They've not seen these minions spiral out of control.
No, that's a bad thing. It means they're still in the deck.
But that is an 8-8 that they do have to deal with.
Again, I don't think they have to deal with it. I think they just have to hope that it deals with itself and trades into things.
Well, I mean, it comfortably trades in with Faceless Shambler, that's for sure.
But if Penhadani does not deal with this 4-8, then it's going to become a 4-16 with Taunt. And that's where the huge swing could happen.
So do they deal with it then? Do you use the swipe here? Do you use your hero power and you keep an 8-4 on the board.
Do you know what? Hungary's so ahead, even if they make that play. Obviously, we've got perfect knowledge. We can see both sides of the board, but I think it makes more sense to deal with everything. You can swipe something.
The fact they have Living Mana as well means that I personally really like the route of just clearing this, because it can spiral out of control. They could quite easily just silence Divine Spirit, whatever. Like it can just flat out lose you the game if you don't deal with the minions against Silence Priest.
Why give them the chance to come back? Pen Hidani, though, completely disagrees with us. He's going to go as wide as possible. He could be threatening the Savage Roar in hand as well. Could be trying to make... I mean, this is applying pressure.
As you said, now Divine Spirit plus Faceless Shambler. He's going to put a lot on the board.
Ooh, if only there was some way he could play both.
But this was what I was worried about. I mean, look, there is always that chance that they just flat out could win the game, and that's what's scary.
So now another problem arises, which is both Faceless...
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Both Faceless Shamblers are gone. And that Humongous Razor Leaf is a 416 without being silenced, which means if it's ever going to do anything from now on...
They can get damage
silent.
to face with this Fledgling here. There, I believe there's a lethal opportunity if they actually get Wind Fury with the Fledgling.
Let's see.
So they can put the bits of height, they can use the swipe, or they can use whatever. And yeah, this is a possibility for lethal if they can get Wind Fury. May even be without Wind Fury, actually, depending on how I'm calculating it here. Yeah, it's just flat out lethal, right? 4 out of 10, yeah.
It is.
So I like the ballsy play, to be honest, from Penna. I was saying it's risky, but the fact that the Power of the Wild was huge, but he knew he had Power of the Wild. He knew he had 2 of them. He also had 2 Mark of the Lotuses. He also had 2 Savage Roars. Yeah. So he's calculated that, and he said, well, what's the likelihood of us drawing something that could just flat out get through whatever Torment he's put on the board?
Yeah, you know, if Power of the Wild was lethal, then Savage Roar probably was lethal as well. So I agree with you. It was risky. It could have backfired, but the Power of the Wild pickup was enough. Maybe we were underestimating the amount of damage that the Pen Hidani was putting on the board. I did like the play from the other side as well. I really liked the defensive play there. It was so unfortunate that there wasn't quite a way of getting that second Divine Spirit there, because that may have just ended the game. That probably would have been... Imagine doubling it again.
I don't think how many cards they had left. I'm going to guess around like maybe 19, 18, and I think there were about 6 cards that just won them the game.
Right.
If they hadn't have drawn one of those, then that was when the punishing factor came out. But they played their odds right, played the cards right, of course. Memes. And now we move on to the 4th game of the day. Throne versus Exigo. Druid versus Rogue. I wonder whether we're going to see the aggro Druid again. If it is the aggro Druid, then of course it can do fantastically if this is a Quest Rogue.
It's so polarizing because on the flip side, if it's Jade Druid, tends to be pretty weak against the Quest Rogue. Quest Rogue is able to kind of sit around and do nothing for a while, but then complete the quest and just destroy the Jade Druid before the Jades have gotten too big. So if it's Token Druid, it's quite heavily favored. If it's Jade Druid, the Quest Rogue is quite heavily favored. That being said, could be Miracle Rogue.
It could be, and I mean, Miracle, for me, I mean, I've had this discussion with both you, and I've had it with Lorinda as well. I think Miracle Rogue is harder to play, and I've got a lot of stick from people saying that.
Yeah, we disagree.
I think Quest Rogue is just a comfortable game that even if you play it badly, you can still succeed. And there will be a lot of people that would disagree with me.
No, that's true, and that's what Raven was saying. Raven? Sottle. No,
they're both 1 and 1
Even
nowadays.
I'm getting them mixed up now.
They're the same.
This is what Sottle was saying. He hates the comparison that people make between Quest Rogue and Grim Patron Warrior, though he
You mentioned Grim Patron Warrior around Sottle. That's such a scary thing to do.
Though he mentioned it. Though he agrees with it to an extent, because Quest Rogue is one of these games where the maths is so complicated, working out exactly when to complete the quest is so tricky. You can just improve and improve and improve and improve. And he is saying that he thinks that if you're the best Quest Rogue player in the world, you just take it every time, because it's just better than Miracle Rogue if you can play it well. The thing is, the reason it doesn't work with the Grim Patron comparison is because you do have the chance of just drawing what you need as the Quest Rogue and winning anyway. Like, that can happen.
And I think it's hard to compare Quest Rogue to Grim Patron Warrior because Quest Rogue can win in turn 4. Like, the game can be over if you get those Shadow Steps nice and early. Grim Patron was never really in that position.
I think the argument I would make with the Quest Rogue Miracle Rogue skill argument is that I believe that Miracle Rogue has a higher skill floor, but lower skill ceiling. So like the best Quest Rogue player in the world is really, really good. Like he's mastered the deck. The best Miracle Rogue player in the world, still great, but like maybe not quite as skilled as the Quest Rogue player.
I mean, the best Quest Rogue player and the best Miracle Rogue player may be the same person.
Probably would be the same person.
There are people that just flat out only play Rogue.
Yeah.
That's something that we have to consider.
Yeah, yeah. Players like Casey and Mr. Yagu
Hey,
played.
those guys are always playing Rogue.
They play a lot of Rogue.
So we're going into Game 4, and Hong Kong, how important is it that they get this victory? Because they're 1 and 2 in the league at the moment.
Hong Kong, very important.
Yeah, this is what I'm a little bit worried about. Of course, they have that 2-1 advantage in this series, but now they've lost that one. Where does their mentality go? Because you start to worry and you start to think, actually, if we throw this series away, we're 1 and 3, and we might not even get through this stage.
I think they've got to still be feeling a little bit confident at the moment, because if they're not, things are going to start going downhill even worse, you know?
Yeah.
They've only lost 1 game, they've won 2. They need to win 1 more before they lose 2. Like, it's definitely achievable. Their confidence, I think, is going to be down to what type of druid they have, really. Because, again, if it's the token druid, and you have to imagine that they would have only picked druid if it's token, because they saw their opponent has a rogue. They're not going to choose to queue Jade Druid into the Quest Rogue. That's where the kind of the mind games of this format works.
What's confused me slightly is when the deck list was submitted for HCT, for the European Championships that we just witnessed,
Yeah.
there was a comparison to Token Druid and Aggro Druid.
Right.
And I'm wondering where the difference is there, because everything I see is pretty similar, and I'm wondering what begs the difference of changing the name for that one.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure. Lorinda was saying it may have something to do with Bitterhide Hydras. Honestly, I've been using the names Token Druid and Aggro Druid fairly interchangeably. They're very, very similar decks nowadays. It's not like old-style Token Druid where they used to run, Violet Teachers.
Yeah.
That card doesn't exist in the meta right now.
But it is going to be the Miracle Rogue, and it is going to be
Hey.
Aggro Druid, Token Druid, some kind of Druid, whatever you want to call it.
With everything I was saying about Miracle Rogue earlier, I do find it more entertaining to watch than Quest Rogue. I find it a very, very fun deck. I enjoy playing it a lot as well. I find that I can win games with it more than I can with the Quest Rogue. And it's going to be the Arcane Giant version, as we saw as the Arcane Giant came off the top there. Arcane Giant not going to be helpful in this matchup at all for Exego. He needs to get this good early game. Hallucination could be good for that, though he may want to hold on to that until after he knows which type of druid he's against.
That's definitely true.
He doesn't know at the moment if he wants to
Hallucination is one of those cards where you want to play it in a situational position where you can choose, depending on what is on the board and what's in front of you. If you play it blind, then it's a little bit silly.
I mean, even broader than that, like he just wants to know if it's Jade or Token Druid. He wants to know if he needs to take these defensive cards or if he can take some higher value cards. Now he's seen the Hungry Crab, he's going to feel, more confident in doing that. But a second Arcane Giant, look at Exego just clutching his head there. He knows how terrible a draw that was.
Yeah, because now you're just living off top decks because you raise a petal plus backstab here if you want to immediately get a board presence, but then all you've got to work with is that Hallucination.
I don't even know if you can afford to play the backstab here. Maybe you have to because you're afraid of cards like Mark of the Lotus, but
I'd be worried about Yasiraj, to be honest. That's what I'm worried about.
Mark of Yasiraj,
Yeah.
not actually the big boy himself.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, yeah. Because, and there it is off the top as well. That's what I would be concerned about, so I think
Good
that was a
shout.
good play.
Good shout.
Otherwise, it might have spiraled out of control. I always find this against Aggro Druid is that you just deal with the board as best as you can, in the best position that you can. And now, Parallel World have to be using to summon the Panther, means that this can be dealt with. But another dud draw for Hungary.
It's done with this hand, yeah. And the worst part is that Exego feels the need of actually playing the one card that works well with Edwin. Well, that's not true. There's Hallucination. Next turn may well be Hallucination Edwin, which is okay. For 4 mana, you're playing a 4/4 and getting a card. It's not completely abysmal.
Enchanted Raven off the top is massive with the Mark of Yasiraj. Will allow him to draw more. Again, is running that Murloc package as well.
Oh my.
And this has gone from bad to worse for Hungary. That's 4 draws in a row of something you really don't want to put on the board. They're going to have to, in my opinion, Drop the Questing Adventurer now, followed by Hallucination if they want to get any sort of board presence.
Looks like they're going to do it the other way around. Earthen Scale is actually pretty good in this matchup if they can get a Giant down.
I mean, actually, Troton and Forager might be good here. They might need it.
It's tricky. Earthen Scales works well with Questing Adventurer as well. Like so if this turn the player's Hallucination Edwin, next turn could be Questing Adventurer, Earthen Scales. Hopefully another 1-mana spell as well, if you can pick one up.
Yeah, but both turns felt awkward, didn't they?
Yeah.
Questing into Hallucination felt bad. I mean, Hallucination into Edwin still feels bad as well, but I guess it's more of an immediate presence. Gonna have to. I guess the saving grace for Hungary is we've not had an immense start from Hong Kong either.
Not yet, though Patches looks like he's going to come down very, very soon. This turn it's going to be Finger. Finger into Murloc Woolly. That does seem like a pretty good sequence of turns.
And we've not touched on much about the players themselves and their accolades. And of course, Throne is a 15 times legend player. I mean, this guy is legend pretty much every season he's up there.
Yeah.
So
and he's been rank 1 legend.
There you go then.
Not everyone can say that.
No, they can't. I certainly can't. One day.
I've got here that he likes thinking.
He likes thinking. I'd like to think so.
I don't like thinking.
All right, that explains a lot.
And he has card game experience prior to Hearthstone as well.
Always a good factor, actually. And to be honest, a lot of players do at the top level.
Exego on the other side of things was top 4 in Zagreb Gaming Arena, losing out to RDU, who obviously recently earned himself a place to Shanghai.
Which is absolutely massive for him.
So not a... Yeah, it is. Good job, man. So not a... not that humiliating, losing to RDU.
Look at that. Throne applauding his opponent, saying, lol, you have them playing a Questing Adventure now with pretty much nothing else.
Yeah, you asked me earlier how important the win for Hong Kong was. And yeah, it's as we said, it's important. Like, if they lose the series, they're almost certainly out of the Hearthstone Global Games. Not quite guaranteed, but almost. On the other side of things, Hungary needed to win this because they would have almost certainly have qualified through to the next round. And losing this means they're going to be 2-2, which means the next game is going to be everything to play for them.
That's when it gets scary. A lot of celebration was coming from Throne there. As you said, he has the option now to play the War Leader if he wants. He can just deal with this Questing Adventurer relatively comfortably.
Yeah, drop a War Leader, trade Finger into the Questing Adventurer, grab Bluegill Warrior out of the deck, seems good to me. It's really... those 2 Arcane Giants are looking so sad. Doesn't even really matter for Hungary, though. Even if they had the Quest Rogue, it would have been equally as bad a matchup. They really wanted to see
What would you prefer, double Bluegill or a Bluegill and a War Leader?
Probably double Bluegill if you want to clear everything up. He knows he gets at least 1 Bluegill, so he's not worried about the Questing Adventurer too much.
Well, there it is. Double Bluegill.
Just get rid of everything.
Get rid of the board. Wow.
So he definitely gets rid of the Questing Adventurer. He may be happy leaving the 2-2 alive. He's got Savage Roar in his hand, so going wide seems good. There's Patches as well. Oh my goodness.
This is starting to look like game, set, and match for Hungary unless they can pick up something quite significant. Those Arcane Giants are doing zilch.
Look at Throne. Look how excited he's getting about this potential win. Swashbuckler into what? Swipe? No, that doesn't do much. Starfall would clear almost the whole board.
You can't even find anything from Mimic Mod as well, so you're just going to have to look, hope for something. Fandrel's not going to do it.
Oh, Starfall would have cleared the whole board with Patch's help as well. No, as you said, Fandrel not going to do it. Maybe a backstab can come from this Mimic Pod. No. Okay. I think this game's over, damn.
Not quite. Not quite just yet.
No, you're right. He's
One Savage Roar does not do it just at this moment, but, I mean, you are quite correct in it is pretty much almost over.
It's going to be 2 or 3 off, right?
Innovate doesn't help. Do you do it now? Do you just use Savage Roar right this second? You say, look, I can jam what?
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's 16 damage off the top of my head.
You absolutely do. Exego has no board. You have 4 minions. You don't know if your 4 minions are going to survive. You'd be kicking yourself after this turn if you didn't play the Savage Roar and then somehow your board got cleared. Random Yogg-Saron or something. It's not possible on 6 mana, but you know what I mean. Swashbuckler into Starfall, as I said before. But putting Exego down to 5 means that there are ways that you can win in the future. Hungary players shaking each other's hands. They...
Oh, GG's all round. He's leaving.
Yeah, they've given up. Going home.
Don't abandon ship. You stay there till it sinks.
Feral Rage actually does allow Exego to gain some armor. Throne is praying now, got his hands together. It's great to see such an emotive player.
He's gone. Come back, there's a Feral Rage. I can still see his knee or something. He's still there, don't
Now
worry.
that's another player.
Oh, he's
more them.
Maybe he had class.
Maybe.
You never know. Other commitments.
It's you can just watch the hope draining from their faces. Gonna go with the claw, gain some armor. It allows him to squeeze in a Vile Spine Slayer as well. He can actually technically clear enough of this board. Throne, look at Throne!
He's like, hey, hurry up, come on, this game's over. You've got no chance, buddy. Right, what's off the top though? Need something big. Vicious Fledgling, not gonna do it, but the fact he can just jam down a living mana now if he wants. I guess you don't need to, but yeah, just put a lot on the board. Just finish this game off.
All right, Exego, if you can draw that Vanish that you teched into your deck, then you actually have a chance here.
Hey, we've seen an Eater of Secrets today, but Blood Mage Thalnos is not a Vanish.
No, and there's no... If there was a Fan of Knives in hand here, this would just be...
Yes. Again, that could have been big, but it's unfortunately not going to be enough. And Hong Kong are going to be victorious here. 3-1, and they will find themselves 2-2 in the standings. Hungary also at 2-2 with that loss as well. Amazing victory, and Throne waves goodbye and says, see you later, Hungary. We're moving up. We're 2-2 now. We're going to make it through to the second stage of the Global Games. That's what they're hoping for, and they have put 1 foot forward.
Of course, Throne there, getting all excited, but talking to his teammates as well. All throughout, although some of the games it looked like there were 4 people on one side and 1 on the other, all throughout, both teams have been talking to each other through communications. And oh man, it seems good to see the excitement coming from Throne. On the flip side, pretty sad to watch on the other side as the hope drained from Hungary's faces, and as one of the players...
You just left!
just left.
Come on, bro! But there are the final decks that we used. Of course, Hong Kong taking it 3-1. Penna did manage to get one on the board for Hungary, but unfortunately wasn't enough. We don't need the ace match either. Kin and Chain Caller can just leave. And, well, pretty emphatic victory from Hong Kong. I hope someone actually gifts that image of Throne waving his hands around, because that was fairly entertaining for me.
You know what? Looking at this as well, it's been a pretty generic series of Hearthstone. It's one of the first time I've said that with this format, but we've had a series where the only 3 classes, correct me if I'm wrong, the only 3 classes that we haven't seen are Shaman, Hunter, and Warlock, which are pretty much universally agreed upon to be the bottom 3 classes right now. So we've actually just seen a fairly... This is the new sort of standard that's been set for the Ngari meta.
And it's one of my favorite metas ever.
Oh,
to be honest,
it's
in Hearthstone.
mine, for sure.
It's relatively diverse. Every class has something that's viable. I mean, even Warlock, that's become a bit of a meme. You can still play Discard Lock. It can work in the right places, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with how the meta is at the moment, but I believe we have an interview with one of the winning players, so let's try and catch up with one of you guys. Hello, my friend. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. Congratulations. That was an incredible victory from you guys. A lot of happy faces as well. You move up. You're 2-2 in the table now. Do you think you've got what it takes to qualify for the second stage?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we are pretty confident that yeah, especially when we take down 2 games in a row. We start from 0-2 and then we make it to 2-2 now.
Amazing, really.
Yeah, it's the beginning of what looks like it could be a great comeback for you guys in the Hearthstone Global Games. Tell me a little bit about your communication. We could see at the end there, Throne appeared to be very, very excited. Do you guys enjoy playing together?
Yeah, of course. Because there's not many people playing Hearthstone in Hong Kong, so we basically know each other. We know each other in real life, and we enjoy playing together.
That always helps. Now talk me through the Eater of Secrets, because you were delighted about that one. We were pretty delighted about that one. Is that a tech-in that you've been having week after week, or did you bring it in especially for this week?
I've been testing the Burn Mage list on ladder this month, the whole month literally, and I find it a really good card. And we normally Burn Mage doesn't have a 4 drops on turn 4, you know, so we just think it's a decent card.
I wonder if you'd ever play that on Curve, though. Probably not. Thank you very much for joining us with the interview, and congratulations again. Best of luck in the rest of your games, dude.
Thank you.
That's really closed the group up, hasn't it?
It has indeed. You wouldn't play it on Curve, would you? He said it's a good 4-drop.
Okay, so if you're desperate, I guess. Usually Mage, you've got cards like Primordial Glyph and Arcane Intellects and other things, but say you're against a Token Druid and you don't have anything else to play, I guess you just do.
How different would that series have been if that Eater of Secrets hadn't come off the top? That's what I'm wondering, Mr. Falcone.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to see some highlights from these games. Hopefully we'll be able to reassess that game in just a moment.
No, it was an unimportant matter of the game. It's not going to be highlighted.
But way back when, in game number 1 today, we saw just the Paladin just continuing to pressure the Warrior. And the Warrior almost stabilized. They got to the point where they'd completed the quest. They almost there, but no shield blocks, no armor smiths in sight. It's possible they don't actually run over. And it just didn't happen, and there you go.
They didn't see any executes. That was a big thing. And there was the cheer from Hong Kong as well, from Blitzchung as he drew that Eater of Secrets. And actually, I didn't notice the round of applause and the head in the hands from Hungary.
Yeah, we were too busy looking at the other side. I think that Hong Kong still had a good chance anyway, because they could have played the defensive Alex Straza, but it was certainly not a guaranteed win for them. And the fact that Hungary had 3 ice blocks would have been a big advantage for them. So I think you could make the argument that Eater of Secrets won that game, and they would not have won otherwise.
The series?
The game,
just that
the
individual game. And, well, potentially the series as well, to be honest. I mean, it could have been completely different in hindsight. And then we saw Throne perfectly pilot Aggro Druid. A lot of people moan about Aggro Druid, easy to play, blah, 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 but I'll disagree with you. I think you need to make those right decisions. Everything did go well for him. We look on the other side for Hungary. They had Arcane Giant to Arcane Giant into Edwin.
Yeah, it just wasn't their game. You're right. I mean, aggro decks, it's always been the case that aggro decks require a lot of decision making. You end up with a lot of cards in your opening few hands, which all cost 1 mana and all cost 2 mana. And the thing that people don't realize, the fundamental difference between those decks and the mid-range decks is that a lot of the time with mid-range decks, you play the 1 mana card on 1, you play the 2 mana card on 2. That's not so much the case anymore, but that was the case in the past. Aggro decks, it's always been turn 1. Which 1 mana card do I play right now? Which 2 mana card? Which combination of cards do I play now? So yeah, it does take decision making, but you're right, that aggro druid was played very well.
There's only one decision, and the decision is do me go face. That's pretty much how some people see aggro, and you're kind of right. Like, I can sympathize with you, but there is a lot behind.
Deciding when to put everything into the face. Soto was talking during HCT about the distinction between aggro decks and face decks. Aggro decks control the board, whereas face decks completely just ignore everything. And I think Life Coach did a thing once where he just covered his screen and only had his opponent's face on screen, and he just put everything into the face with Face Shaman once.
Let's have a quick look at the group that is updated then and have a look at the standings and see where these teams are lying. Because to be honest, going 2-2 for both of them is extremely important. And actually, we're not actually going to go to a group. Sorry, I'm going to be incorrect with that one. But the fact they're both 2-2 means that they have everything to play for in the coming weeks. Yeah. And I'm really excited, to be honest, to see what Hong Kong can do. Because as they said, they were 0-2, and now they've come back. That's a great story if they can come back from 0-2 and actually qualify for the next stage.
Imagine, quite inspirational, I imagine, for some of the other teams as well. We've got Switzerland playing a little bit later today. They are currently 0-2, I think. So they could look at Hong Kong as they step up against China and say, hey, if they can come back, we can come back. I hope we do get to see the groups a little bit later. Anyway, I'll be having a look during my break because that's a really interesting group. There it is. It's just so tight in the middle. It's not like one of the other groups where it's like 3-0 at the top, 3-0, and then 0-3 at the bottom. Like, this is a really close group. Anyone could qualify here.
I think what's even closer is the game records there as well.
9-9.
That's something that we've got to consider because
9-8.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, tiebreakers, when they come into equation, those game records could become very important. But South Korea in a good position. Now Hong Kong just behind them, hot on their heels, and we'll see how they do in the rest of the developments. But you were saying about a short little break. We're going to have a short little break, but when we come back, it's going to be Sweden versus Indonesia, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.